A Government College Money Guide. Chapter 1. Government College Money 1. Federal Government College Money. Don't necessarily assume you don't qualify for financial aid just because your parents make a lot of money. Other things are factored in, such as number of dependents, expenses, etc., so go for it. Apply early for student loans and grants. Even if you haven't been accepted for college yet, still apply for aid. Make photocopies of your application forms and check on them if you haven't received a reply within several months. If you want to ensure the college receives your application, include a self-addressed, stamped envelope with it. The federal government student loans program basically provides for both student loans directly and parental loans for the purpose of your child's college education through a participating bank/financial institution, all based on your extent of financial need. If you can demonstrate that you are in financial need according to the formula, you qualify for several types of loans. The most basic loan is the Guaranteed Student Loan, GSL, where you must prove need, and if your family makes over a certain income per year, you must pass an additional test. When calculating the formula for student need, parental income is assessed at 5.65% as an asset, while a child's college savings fund account is assessed at 35% as an asset, so your children's college fund accounts could come back to haunt you. The best way to circumvent this is to keep the child's college account in your name. The Carl D. Perkins Loans is for low-income students of families that make less than $35,000 per year. Parents are allowed to borrow money on the student's behalf through a program called the Parent Loan for Undergraduate Students, PLUS, but they must start paying it back within 60 days. Parental Loan to Undergraduate Students, PLUS loans, are loans made to parents that have good credit ratings to help the student pay off his college tuition. Interest rates are better than for just a regular loan. Through this federally subsidized loan program, banks, credit unions, or other financial institutions lend parents or students money for educational expenses. Payments begin within 60 days after the last installment of the loan was given out. Repayments may be delayed in certain circumstances if you can prove hardship. There are also supplemental loans for students and loans for parents open to all. The federal government also has work-study programs and programs where you work for a year or during the summer to pay for college. There are several other types of financial aid in the federal system, such as Pell Grants and Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grants. Pell Grants are given to low-income families in an amount up to $2,300. Call 800-4FED-AID, FENAID.org for the application forms. Ask about other programs beyond the federal student loan program, like the Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, SEOG, administered by your college but federally funded. You could get free money if you need it. Ask about them at your local college. After you mail in your application, if you don't get your student aid report/SAR within 4 weeks, call the federal processor at 319-337-5665 and ask about your application. Have your social security number and date of birth ready as verification. The deadline for applications is June 30th unless it's changed recently. Financial Aid Guide. Financial aid is monetary assistance for school provided by federal, state, institutional or private sources and may consist of grants, loans, work-study, or scholarships. Most financial aid is awarded based on financial need, called need-based aid for low-income people. In general, to be considered eligible for federal financial aid, you must be a United States citizen or eligible non-citizen, be enrolled or accepted for enrollment in an accredited institution, be making satisfactory academic progress in your course of study, not be in default on any loan or owe a refund or repayment on any previous financial aid received at any institution attended. Be registered with the Selective Service, if you are required to do so. Another big one is merit. Prove you're a good student by scoring high on standardized tests and getting a high GPA. Merit-based aid is awarded to students who have a special skill or ability, display a particular talent, have a certain grade point average, or are enrolled in a specific program. There are several types of financial aid offered to help pay for educational expenses. Grants, loans, student employment, work, scholarships. Grants and scholarships are gifts and do not have to be repaid. Loans are borrowed money that must be paid back. Student employment is normally part-time work arranged for a student during the school year. The federal government offers both grant and loan financial aid programs. State assistance may be available. Other sources of aid come from private foundations such as corporations, civic associations, unions, fraternal organizations, and religious groups. Some companies offer tuition reimbursement to their employees and/or their dependents. An assessment of your family's ability to contribute toward educational expenses is made based on the information you provide when applying for financial aid. This assessment, referred to as need analysis, determines your financial need, which is defined as the difference between the total cost of attendance and what you are expected to pay. Financial need will vary between colleges because of each school's different costs of attendance. To apply for financial aid, complete the necessary forms properly. Most vocational schools use just one financial aid application called the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, FAFSA, fafsa.ed.gov. You have a right to be informed of the correct procedures for applying for aid, cost of attendance, types of aid available, how financial need is determined, criteria for awarding aid, how satisfactory academic progress is determined and what you need to do to continue receiving aid. Be informed of the type and amount of assistance you will receive, how much of your need has been met and how and when you will be paid. Appeal any decision of the Financial Aid Office if you feel you have been treated unfairly with regard to your application. View the contents in your financial aid file, in accordance with the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. Know the conditions of any loan you accept. Check out the federal and state government student aid programs. Check the websites of the colleges you are interested in for their financial aid programs. Check scholarship websites. Check relevant professional/trade organizations in your field. Look for banks and other institutions offering college loans. Look for other ways to get money like work, start a small business, borrow from relatives, sell your stuff, live cheaply, use credit cards, etc. Get my money and business books for ideas. You can do a distance degree for much cheaper and quicker than going to the college full-time. Determining the student's status for federal aid, independent/dependent. If you are considered dependent by federal definition, then your parents' income and assets, as well as yours, will be counted toward the family contribution. This is mostly for students fresh out of high school straight into college. If you are considered independent of your parents, only your income, and that of your spouse, if you are married, will count in the need analysis formula. To be considered independent for financial aid, you must meet one of the following criteria. Be at least 24 years old. Be a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces. Be married. Be an orphan or ward of the court. Have legal dependents other than a spouse. Be a graduate professional student. You get more money if you're an independent student. College money toll-free numbers. Federal Student Aid Information Center, FSAIC. 1-800-4 FED-AID, 1-800-433-3243. TTY users, for the hearing impaired, can call 1-800-730-8913. Callers in locations without access to 800 numbers may call 1-319-337-5665. This is not a toll-free number. The FSAIC staff can answer your student aid questions and can give you all the help you need free, including * information about federal student aid programs, * help completing the FUSASM, * help in making corrections to your student aid report, SAR, the document that contains your application results, * information about the process of determining financial need and awarding aid, and * information about your federal student loans. The free application for federal student aid / FAFSA. Fill out the free application for Federal Student Aid, or the FAFSA, as it's better known. The FAFSA determines your eligibility for student financial aid from federal programs. fafsa.ed.gov. collegeofu.com/articles/cv/financial aid/fafsa_facts.html. The Stafford Loan / the main federal loan for students. Stafford loans are student loans offered by the federal government. There are two Stafford loan programs: subsidized, need-based; non-subsidized, non-need-based. Students can borrow money to attend school and the federal government will guarantee the loan in case of default. The subsidized Stafford loan is a loan where the government pays the interest while you're in school. The amounts and rates are always changing. The unsubsidized Stafford loan is for less financially strapped students, is where you're responsible for the interest while you're going to school, although it can be deferred until later. Interest is constantly building up. Fill out the application for Federal Student Aid /FAFSA. After you max out on the subsidized loan, you can get another $2,000 a year in an unsubsidized Stafford loan. Any student, regardless of income, can apply for an unsubsidized Stafford. The interest rate is about 6.8%. Interest runs throughout the schooling years, but it can be deferred until after graduation. studentaid.ed.gov. accessgroup.org. bankofamerica.com/studentbanking/index.cfm. cfnc.org/paying/loan/info_stafford.jsp. collegeanswer.com/paying/content/pay_under_fed_tip.jsp. edfed.com. ehow.com, how to apply for a federal Stafford loan. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/Stafford_loan. finaid.org/loans/studentloan.phdml. kipelinger.com, Stafford loan. lclark.edu/department/sfs/stafford.html. nelnet.com/stafford_loans.aspx. petersons.com/finaid/staffordloan.asp. purdue.edu/dfa/staffordrepayment.htm. salliemay.com. simpletuition.com/stafford_student_loans. staffordloan.com. studentlendingworks.org/questions/stafford_loans.aspx. studentloanfunding.com. Chapter 2. Government College Money 2. Federal Parental Loans for Undergraduate Students /Plus. The Parental Plus Loan is a federal loan program. The parent makes the loan for their child, the student. There is no limit. You can borrow up to the full amount of college costs minus any aid and other loans. Federal Parent Loan for Undergraduate Students /Plus loans are low-interest federally insured loans for parents and graduate and professional students. A plus loan is offered to parents of students enrolled at least half-time in eligible programs at participating and eligible post-secondary institutions. There are some rules. You have to be reasonably current on your mortgage payments and not had a bankruptcy in the previous 5 years. The interest rate hovers around 8.5% if you borrow from a third-party lender. The interest rate is 7.9% if the school is part of a program where you can borrow directly from the federal government. If the parent dies or is permanently disabled, the debt is forgiven, unlike with a private loan. Parents of independent students are not eligible to borrow a plus loan. To begin the process of getting a direct plus loan, the student must complete the FAFSA. If your family is denied a plus loan, you are automatically eligible for an additional unsubsidized federal Stafford loan. The plus loan is for parents and is not considered the financial responsibility of the student. There is no deferment period, so repayment begins immediately upon disbursement of the loan. Federal Parental Loans for Undergraduate Students /Plus websites. studentaid.ed.gov/portals web app/students/english/parentloans.jsp. cofc.edu/FINA-ID/AID/loans/plus.php collegeanswer.com/paying/content/pay_under_fed_plus.jsp colorado.edu/FINA-ID/types-of-aid.html directlending-solutions.com/federal_plus_loan.htm dolans.com/calculators/what_are_the_payments_parental_plus_loan.html en.wikipedia.org/wiki/plus_loan famemain.com/education/financial-aid-glossary.asp fau.edu/FINA-ID/loans/plus.php finaid.org/calculators/parent-advisor.phtml financial-aid-finder.com/financial-aid-program/student-loan-program/plus-loans foxbusiness.com/tools/what-are-the-payments-on-a-parental-plus-loan.html hmc.edu/admission1/costs-and-aid1/types-of-aid1/educational loans1/loans-for-parents.html investmentpropertymall.com/blogs/plus-loan millersville.edu/FINA-ID/FAQ.php nextstudent.com/plus-loans/plus-loans.asp oedb.org/loan/parental parentplusloan.com petersons.com/FINA-ID/FA-commonquestions.asp salliemay.com/get_student_loan/find_student_loan/parent_loan/plus studentloans.com/plus vcu.edu/enroll/FINA-ID/programs/loans/subunsub.html yale.edu/education/FINA-ID/FAQ Government jobs for students Federal Summer Employment Staffing Policy Division Career Entry Employee Develop Office of Personnel Management 1900 E. St. N.W. Washington, D.C. 20415 usajob.opm.gov Office of Personnel Management 1900 E. St. N.W. Washington, D.C. 20415 202-606-1800 usajob.opm.gov Part-time and summer jobs, high school and college students. Selective service info. If you're a guy between 18 and 25, register for the selective service, otherwise you'll lose your financial aid. Selective Service System. National HQ. Arlington, Virginia 22209. sss.gov. Selective Service System. Registrant Information Office. POB 94638. Palatine, Illinois 60094-4638. 847-688-6888. Consumer Information Center. Pueblo, Colorado 81009. 888-8 Pueblo. Pueblo.gsa.gov. Free booklets, Time to Register, Selective Service UNSSS, Information for Registrants. Chapter 3. Government College Money 3. Federal Pell Grant. ed.gov/program/fpg/index.html, the Federal Pell Grant Program provides grants to low-income undergraduate and certain post-baccalaureate students. Grant amounts are based on factors like a student's expected family contribution, the cost of attendance at the specific school, enrollment status, full-time or part-time, whether the student attends for a full academic year or less. Pell Grants require the filing of the FAFSA application. Pell Grant recipients have priority in receiving supplemental educational opportunity grants. studentaid.ed.gov. Perkins Loan Info. The Perkins Loan is a federal financial aid program that consists of low-interest loans for undergraduates and graduate students with financial need and is awarded by the school. The amounts available change every year or two, so check the current scale for recent monetary amounts. The student signs a promissory note and money is either paid to the student directly or credited to his or her school account. Interest charged is 5% and the repayment period is up to 10 years. Repayments of at least $30 a month generally start 9 months after the student either leaves school or drops below half-time attendance. Payments may be further delayed under certain circumstances where you send in an appeal for a delay due to some manner of hardship. Studentaid.ed.gov. Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant/SEOG. The Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant/SEOG is a federal award that helps undergraduates with financial need and is awarded by the school. The SOG does not have to be paid back. The Hope Credit on Income Tax/Hope Scholarship. IRS Publication 970 talks about a Hope Credit, which is that if you earn under $88,000 a year, you're eligible to make a deduction directly from the income tax you owe as opposed to subtracting it from your total assets provided you attend an approved college, fafsa.ed.gov, at a minimum of 1/2 of the standard full-time load. The general rule is $1,650 deduction for each college freshman and sophomore in the family. irs.gov. Lifetime Learning Credit Info. The Lifetime Learning Credit is a credit on income tax for parents of students in their junior year of college and beyond. You can deduct 20% of the first $10,000 you pay for your children's college education per year. This credit is not for each child but for the whole family. The credit is phased out if the parent or parents earn above a certain level of income. Volunteering to help get money/AmeriCorps. AmeriCorps is a federal agency that coordinates volunteering activities. If you are interested in volunteering somewhere within the many programs out there, this office will direct you to the appropriate office near where you live. Their main program is the deal that you help out all over the country for a year receiving very low pay and then get a lump sum at the end of it to presumably use for college. It's tied in with college loans. All these websites are part of the AmeriCorps program. Work with them and you get your AmeriCorps money for college at the end of your 1-year term. Work for 1,700 hours on community projects, then get a lump sum of money for college, about $5,000 for a full-time volunteer for a year, $2,500 for a part-time volunteer for a year. BrethrenVolunteerService.org, 800-323-8039, some programs qualify. CampHill.org. ChrisApp.org, Christian Appalachian Project. CityYear.org, Boston. ExperienceCorps.org. GoodShepherdVolunteers.org, GSV@GoodShepherds.org, 888-668-6478. GouldFarm.org, Farm of Mentally Ill People, Monterey, MA. LVCHome.org, Lutheran Volunteer Corps. AmeriCorps. 1201 New York Avenue, NW. Washington, D.C. 20525. 202-606-5000. Fax, 202-565-2789. 800-942-2677. 800-424-8580. 800-824-9704. 800-833-3722. 800-424-2277. 202-606-5000. Questions@americorps.org. americorps.org. Northwest Service Academy. National Service Programs. 2500 Northeast 65th Avenue. Vancouver, Washington 98661. 360-750-7500. Fax, 360-694-2491. nwsa.recruitment@esd112.org. northwestserviceacademy.org. Outdoor Education, part of the AmeriCorps program. Student Conservation Association. 689 River Road Pog 550. Charlestown, New Hampshire 03603 0550. 603-543-1700. Fax 603-543-1828. Real internships at thesca.org. thesca.org. Paid internships, lump sum at the end, AmeriCorps program. Youth Corps of Southern Arizona. 2245 North Flores Drive. Tucson, Arizona 85705. 520-884-5550. Fax 520-791-7729. ecosa.org. Part of the AmeriCorps program, a lump sum for college at the end. peacecorps.org. 800-424-8580. Student loans deferred, Perkins loan partially cancelled. U.S. federal government work-study websites. College Work-Study is a federally funded work-study program, open to undergraduate and graduate students, offering jobs on and off campus based on financial need. Work-study programs supplement the money required to complete your education. Most schools have a financial aid department that will guide you towards a work-study program if they have one. The federal work-study program provides jobs for undergraduate and graduate students with financial need. You can participate in a work-study program if you are awarded federal work-study with your financial aid package, fafsa.ed.gov. The program encourages community service work and tries to offer work related to your course of study. Through this program, the government pays some or all of an eligible student's wages. In return, in addition to earning money for school, work-study students gain real-world work experience and make contacts with employers and others who may become references for future employment. The award depends on several factors including your level of financial need. Specifically request the program on your FAFSA, free application for federal student aid. You must have a high school diploma or equivalent, must demonstrate financial need and must be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen. Jobs may be located on or off campus. You can specify whether you want to be paid directly and use the money for your own expenses or have the money deposited directly into an account to pay for school expenses such as tuition or room and board. Each school has work-study programs specific to that particular school. For some, you may be eligible to begin upon enrollment and others of you may have to wait until you have obtained a certain amount of credits. ed.gov/program/FWS, work-study program. studentaid.ed.gov/SA/types/work-study, federal student aid, federal work-study. blog.ed.gov/2015/08-things-you-know-about-federal-work-study-2, home room, 8 things you should know about federal work-study. nerdwallet.com/blog/loans/student-loans/what-is-work-study, nerdwallet, what is work-study? A student's guide. singlemotherguide.com/federal-work-study, single mother guide, federal work-study. Work-study programs info. cns.gov, 800-94 National Work-Study Programs. learnandserve.org. ncsct.org/publications/viewdesk.asp?id=1310, work-study jobs. wegmans.com/about/jobs/edu/youth.asp, work-study. workcolleges.org. Action. AmeriCorps. Vista, Volunteers in Service to America. Corporation for National Service. 1100 Vermont Avenue, NW. Washington, D.C. 20525. 800-424-8580. 800-824-9704. 800-833-3722. 800-424-2277. 800 AmeriCorps. 800-433-3243. 800-942-2677. 202-606-5000. americarps.org. cns.gov. Program where you work for 1,700 hours on community projects then get a lump sum of money for college. Job Corps for Youth. 800-733 Jobs. jobcorps.org. jobcorps.deolata.gov. Free Job Training. National Society for Experiential Education. 1709 North Beauregard St. Alexandria, Virginia 22311. 703-575-5475. nsce.org. Work-study programs in 60 fields. Peace Corps. 1990 K. St. N.W. Washington, D.C. 20526. 800-424-8580. peacecorps.gov. peacecorps.gov/www/vrs/mi/me30.html, Masters Program. Technically not a work-study program, but they help out people who've served go to school and get a job.